Hello, friends. I'm the Reverend Terry Peterson, minister of St. John's in Guruk. Today is Thursday, the 18th of February. Today is the second day in the season of Lent. So we continue on our journey of faith in 40 objects. And today's object is something that I suspect most people will have some version in their house. So this is the one that was closest to me. It's a game. So that's what I'm looking for today. A game, a toy. You might have a deck of cards, or you might have children's toys. You might have board games. You might have classic board games like I've got Scrabble over there and Yahtzee, which is a game with dice. Or you might have Cluedo, or you might have a newer game like Ticket to Ride or Settlers of Catan, or who knows, like any kind of game, any kind of toy is today's object that we're thinking about, because when we play, we get a little bit of that sense of childlikeness, right? We shed some of the sort of everyday stuff that gathers up on our lives, and we're able to have fun. We have fun together or on our own, depending on the type of games that we're playing. And it allows us to do something that on the surface is not productive. We don't contribute to the economy when we are playing. We are having fun for its own sake, for our mental health, our spiritual health, for our family's health if we're playing together, for building relationships. And we know how important it is that children play. That's how they learn. But we don't suddenly stop needing to play when we grow up and get a job. We actually may need it more because we forget so easily that we're not made for the purpose of being productive exactly, or at least not to the economy. We are made for delight, for delighting in God's creation and for being a delight to God. We are made for a relationship with God and one another, and all of those things are built and nurtured by play. So I wanted to read a little bit of Mark's Gospel today. This is from chapter 10, beginning at verse 13. People were bringing little children to Jesus in order that he might touch them, and the disciples spoke sternly to them. But when Jesus saw this, he was indignant and said to them, "Let the little children come to me. Do not stop them, for it is to such as these that the kingdom of God belongs. Truly I tell you, whoever does not receive the kingdom of God as a little child will never enter it." And he took them up in his arms, laid his hands on them, and blessed them. This phrase, "whoever does not receive the kingdom of God as a little child will never enter it," is one that sometimes people take to mean that we need to retain a childish understanding of our faith. That, what we're taught in Sunday school is enough, and that we don't need to develop any further in our understanding. And that is not, I think, what Jesus is saying. I think Jesus is trying to remind us that a childlike, different from childish, a childlike approach to the kingdom of God allows us to see more expansively, right? Think about when we play, all of the ways that our imagination works differently. So even for those games that have a lot of rules, how many times have we played by house rules, right? Where something is a little bit different. I think about when we played Monopoly when I was young, and first of all, I hate the game Monopoly because it goes on for like 1.5 million hours. But we played with a bunch of rules that were not the same as when I would go to a friend's house and play the game. Or if someone comes over and suddenly there's something different that they're like, "What are you doing?" Like, we're expansive in our understanding of the rules of a game. What if we had that approach to the rules of the kingdom of God? What if we were expansive in our imagining of what's possible and of the fun that we might have, not just the seriousness, because it is serious, but God is also playful and invites us to delight in God's world. So today's object, a game, because it's important for us to play and to be reminded that we can look at the world differently, that we can choose to expand our vision, that we can experience a different way that is not the way of the world, is not the productive, economically useful thing, and yet is so nourishing and so important to our spirits and to our emotional well-being and to our relationships. And all of that comes from just playing a fun game. Even when we play games that aren't fun, like even one time I played a new game with some friends, and they had never experienced anything like it before. And one of them actually found the game very stressful in the end. But by the time we came to the end of the game, and she was like, "Can we please be done? Like, I am so stressed out by this game." But when we were talking about it afterwards and the way that it made us think, because it was a story, in the end you sort of had to tell the story. And afterwards she realized that she had been thinking of the game in sort of productive terms rather than in a story term. And then she wanted to play it again because she understood that she needed to use her imagination differently. How often are we caught up in something like that, where if we could just see from a different angle, or if we could just use our imaginations differently, the whole world might open before us. And indeed, as Jesus says, the whole kingdom of God opens before us. But without that childlike willingness to imagine, we can't see it, and so we can't enter. So today, do something that is fun. If you're on your own, you might play a game of solitaire with a deck of cards, or play a game online, or start a game of Words with Friends with one of your Facebook friends and play some Scrabble on your phone. Whatever it is, with your family or on your own or with friends online, definitely make some time to have a bit of fun with whatever you have around the house and see how that might change your imagination today. So that's my thought for today. I hope that you enjoy finding a bit of fun with household objects and widening your imagination today. And it's the first day of Lent Madness today, so if you haven't had a chance already to go to the website lentmadness.org, you can read there about the first two people of faith that are being presented, and they are really interesting people. One is a biblical character, and one is someone from the sort of late medieval period, and I'm so interested to hear what you think of them and what sparks your imagination about their stories and what you want to learn more about. So we'll be talking about them and all of the other people of faith who come up in the next several days, next Wednesday at 7:30 on Zoom. So until then, until tomorrow when we come to object number 3, I will see you later. Peace be with you.